Okay, so let's dive into this story. But it doesn't start with a guitar riff. It starts with a motorcycle.
That was the casual sign-off from Led Zeppelin's legendary drummer, John Bonham. The context? He had just been gifted a Harley for his 25th birthday and, promptly rode it through the hallways of a luxury hotel. Just pure, unadulterated chaos. But here's the part of the story that almost nobody knows. That same year, a band fronted by Bonham's childhood best friend was also changing music forever. And that connection? Well, it's everything. We have this image just burned into our minds, don't we? Rock and roll as this glorious mess of rebellion and excess. But what if that's only half the story? What if that chaos is secretly connected to a whole different world of disciplined musical genius, happening at the exact same time by people who grew up on the very same streets? To figure that out, we have to start with Exhibit A, the legend itself. These larger-than-life stories that became the fuel for the entire rock and roll image, and the hidden friendships that connected them all. I mean, this scene just perfectly bottles the essence of 70s rock stardom. It wasn't just some tantrum, it was a full-on performance. The sources call it a kind of self-indulgent recklessness that was actually celebrated. The immediate payment, casually leaving the bike behind as a tip, it was all part of building the mystique. And yeah, the Harley story wasn't a one-off. The biographies are filled with these anecdotes. But here is the secret key to this whole story. Behind that legend was a drummer who learned his craft alongside his best friend from Birmingham, another powerhouse named Bevan, the drummer for a band called the Electric Light Orchestra. And that friendship is the hidden connection nobody sees. And this just highlights such a crucial point. Can you even imagine that kind of behavior today? What was once hailed as the pinnacle of cool would be a career-ending catastrophe. It wouldn't be a rock and roll legend. It'd be a viral video, a public apology tour, and just a blizzard of legal filings. The whole myth-making machine has completely changed. But okay, let's move beyond the myth and the mayhem, because the real story is in the music. So we're going to pivot from the lifestyle to the actual craft, because that's where the real magic happens, often in the hands of the very people connected to that chaos. Now, the definition seems simple, right? But in the hands of the right artists, a cover song stops being a copy and becomes a complete deconstruction and reinvention of the original. It's less like tracing a picture and a lot more like building a new sculpture from the exact same clay. Just look at what the Electric Light Orchestra, yep, Bonham's friend's band, did to Chuck Berry's classic in that same year, 1973. The original is a 2.5-minute speeding bullet of pure rock and roll. ELO's version? Whoa. It's an 8-minute epic that opens with Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. This isn't just a cover, it's a complete architectural overhaul.
So, the crucial point here is that this isn't imitation. As Rolling Stone puts it, it's a wild musical struggle. ELO took the DNA and the raw power of a foundational rock song and spliced it with classical music to create an entirely new organism. This is transformation as a core principle.
And this idea of transformation, it's not an outlier. It's absolutely fundamental to how rock music evolves. It's a constant, ongoing conversation between artists across generations, and sometimes between friends from the same town. You can literally trace the lineage. Chuck Berry lays the foundation, the Beatles act as curators, faithfully passing it on to a massive new audience, and then ELO comes along and completely remodels the entire structure, infusing it with a different kind of ambition. Each step is a crucial part of that song's story. And you see this conversation happening everywhere. It happens through direct influence, like Eric Clapton building his sound on the blues of Robert Johnson. It happens through self-borrowing, where a band like AC/DC creates a derivative work from their own template. It even happens through genre blending, with a band like Blondie taking what they just called the disco song and turning it into a new wave classic. It's all part of this vast, interconnected web. So where does that leave us? What have we actually learned about the DNA of rock and roll? Well, it turns out it isn't just one thing. It's this powerful combination of the mythic, the musical, and the personal. The code is right here. You need the myth, that chaotic, rebellious energy of a John Bonham on a Harley. But you also need the musical transformation, the disciplined, architectural genius of ELO reimagining Chuck Berry. And binding it all together is the historical influence, that hidden conversation between friends from the same industrial city pushing music forward. Because when you really start to look for it, you'll find that same three-part code. The myth, the transformation, and the influence isn't just the secret to rock and roll.
It might just be the secret ingredient, the hidden history in almost every great song ever written.